Hello everyone, welcome to the next video in PowerShell with Azure series, and today we are going to talk about disk, how to add disk on the Azure VM and how to initialize it, what you gotta do if your VM is inside the zone, and that's all. Okay, and of course anything that come across while we are trying to do or perform our task. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm inside this VM, and this VM is running on the Azure. I have taken these variables so that I need not to type it again and again. Okay. So resource group name, RG name is ARG, VM name is ARG-VM, location is West US, storage type is premium LRS, and storage disk name is VM plus data disk. So it would be ARG data disk. So if you have ever created VM through the portal, sorry, not the VM, but the disk through the portal, you know what you got to do. You go to the disk pane, you click on that, you add the disk, you need to define the storage type, standard, HDD, SSD, or premium LRS, and the location, of course. If you have any source type, you can use the source type. But since this is for the people who just wanted to use PowerShell for the Azure administration, for the beginners and learning purpose, so we are taking the absolutely basic task, creating a disk and attaching it to the VM and then initializing it through PowerShell. Okay, very good. So what you gotta do to get the create the disk. Okay, so we can check in help. I'm pretty sure it would be New-AzDisk. Okay, and we can check what all examples we have here so that it will help us to understand what all is needed. But it is more like for VM we needed the VM config, so for this we'll be needing the disk config and all, right? See, you need disk config, URI ID, disk config, those kind of details. You can check it from here. Okay, so in our scenario, what we need to do, we need to create a disk configuration first, which would contain the storage type, okay, and the location and the creation option. So let me do that. New AZ disk config. Cool. Now see, one IntelliSense helps you. SkuName is the storage type, so we're gonna do the storage type because we have already configured it there up here, but you can also use the premium LRS, my tongue, storage type. Cool. Now we need the location for sure, in which location we want to create this disk configuration, and that is $location defined up there. And then we have what you can see, we need a create option, that would be the empty. Okay, and we need the disk size. That's the minimal information we need to create a disk. Let's make it 10 GB. It is in GB. Okay, so this will create a disk config right here. Cool. Now let's get this information in a variable, because I know we gotta use it when we create the new disk. So let's put it here. Okay, now we need to create a disk. Okay, let's create new AZ disk and give it a name, a disk name. Let's give it a data disk name as defined above, VM name plus the data disk number 1. Then we need disk, disk, and this disk is actually the disk config. Then we need the resource group, in which resource group we want to create this thing in rgName. Cool. Okay, now this will create a new disk. Okay, and we can also get this information inside a variable. If you want to create it, which parameter is null, disk name, data disk. Didn't I run this first? Maybe I didn't. Let's try it now. Location. See, this will always fun when you get the errors while creating a video so that you can troubleshoot directly. Okay, so it's New-AzDisk DiskName dataDiskName. All right, and then disk, and then resource group, and then it's asking for location. I think there is no sign for the location, and it shouldn't ask for the location because it is there in the diskconfig. So let's run this one as well, and then run this one. Cool, it should work. Yeah, it worked, succeeded. Okay, the problem was I just write down the information here, but I have never ran it, so the variables were not defined. Okay, cool. So we have new disk. Let's get this information in variable as well. That would be data disk. Okay, this is the best way, so you can need not to go again and again. You would have the information inside your variable and you can utilize it later, because I know you gotta need this. So now we need the VM for on which we gotta add this disk. So let's do $VM. We need this VM in a variable get-Azvm. Name for the VM, it has been defined $vmName. Okay, now we need resource group. So let's do resource group name. That would be $rgName. Okay, cool. So this will get the information of VM in this variable. We have done that in this in past as well. Now we need to add the data disk in this variable, so that we gotta do add AZVM data disk. Okay, and the VM name would be $VM, and the name of the disk, okay, that would be data disk. And then what is the create option? We gotta attach it. If you have seen it on the portal, when the disk is attached, it shows attach. Okay, and you cannot detach until you turn off the machine, I think. So managed disk ID, there would be, if you remember, we got the information here, datadisk.id. Okay, datadisk.id. Okay, we need to define the LUN as 1, and this would be all set. Okay, let's run it. All right, now if I go to the server manager, and I see under the file storage services, what do you think? We'll see this disk. Let's see whether your guesses are correct or not. No, we do not. Okay, we have created the 10 GB if you remember. And why is not? Because we have not updated the VM. Always remember, when we do changes, we got to update it. So update AZVM. Here we need to give this variable again. So it was much better. We kept it at the very first go. $rgName. Okay. All right, let's run it. Now you can see what we did from the beginning to the end. Just to understand, we created the disk config just like we do the VM config. Okay. In disk config, we define the size of the disk, the location of the disk, and the SKU type. Okay. Then we created the disk with the help of that disk config. Okay, and provided the disk name and the resource group. Then we capture the information of our virtual machine so that we can add the data disk to that virtual machine. Once that part is done, we need to update the AZVM. Okay, unless it would not show you because it is there in the PowerShell but not there on the VM. So now it is updated. It says, okay, let's see if we find something here. Got it. You see, there is one 10 GB, the one that we have added, and you need to bring it online and initialize it. This is offline as of now. Okay, and you gotta initialize it. That you can do from the here, right here. You can do bring online. It's saying on another server bringing disk. Okay, no. Yes, sorry. It may be it is showing like this way. I don't know why it is showing this way. I think, yeah, it is okay. It is okay. I was doing the same testing before creating the video, and I think I have not rebooted my server, so maybe it was in cache or something, so it gave us this. But we can check right here. If we do get disk, we get the information, all the disk information that we have on this VM. You can see this one is here. It is healthy, it is online, and it is 10 GB raw. You can see raw. Okay, so we are good. It could be like maybe we should have waited for a little longer so it would be okay, but now we are on the track, we are on the right path. Now from raw we gotta make it MBR. Okay, and if you initialize it right here, it will create a GPT disk. Okay, by default it creates a GPT disk. You can do initialize disk. If I do it, it would not be raw anymore but the GPT. Okay, so you can do it, or if you want to make it MBR, you gotta do the other commands as well along with the initialize disk. Okay, so let's try to initialize disk. All right, along with the partitions. PartitionStyle. MBR. Okay. And also we gotta give it a number here, because how would this remind which disk is going to initialize and on which number if it gives us the number. And this is number 2. Okay. It's simple. Get the disk information, just right. It has nothing to do with the Azure now. We are doing the Windows stuff. Get disk. If you see the AZ has removed, it's just get disk and initialize disk. Number 2, it will initialize it. It won't give anything, any output, but you can do get disk again. So get the information. You can see it is 10 GB MBR. Sure. So your disk is initialized. You have given the MBR as in partition style. Now what you gotta do, you gotta make a new partition with the DriveLetter. Okay, that's what you gotta do. So let's type new partition. Well, I just started it, but I was never planned this one. I was just only planning for Azure related stuff, but since we have started, so let's complete it. AssignDriveLetter and UseMaximumSize and enter. Okay, it's done. Now we need to run format volume and drive a letter. Okay, format, no custom, we're gonna have volume, and we need to drive letter. Let's do P, and file system type is NTFS. Okay, now enter. Oh, I'm sorry. It's D, not P. It's D. Okay. All right, cool. Now, if I go and check here, let me refresh it, or we can go inside this virtual machine, go to this PC, and we can check. We're gonna have the disk right here. Cool, wonderful. So that's all about it, but there are a few things that I wanted to mention here. If you're gonna change or attach the disk to the zonal, then you gotta create your disk configuration inside a zone. Okay, so you're gonna have one more option here, right here. If you see zone, see, you gotta provide the zone number in which your VM is residing. This setting is required. Okay. All right. So if you wanna attach this disk or attach an existing disk, then you can do get instead of new. Once you have this data disk information of the existing disk, rest all would remain the same. Okay. You can also use these commands that we ran, disk, partition, and all, put it in a script and attach it as an extension, VM extension, or you can do it with the help of PowerShell as set AZVM custom script extension. Provide the path, okay, and the relevant stuff, and it will initialize automatically. Even that can be done. But since this is a beginner's part, so beginner's part is what we have completed, and the rest of the part is intermediate. We'll cover it in later videos. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching. You have a good day.